Hello, welcome to Beats Radio. Beats Radio on www.beatsradio.com. We also have a TV section to that website if you are able to locate it. And there's no doubt that you're going to be having an enjoyable time. The program is Random Talks. Random Talks is one in which we focus or look at the works of those people who are contributing to uplifting society in one way or the other. It could be in the field of medicine, it could be in the field of science or thereabout. And we go to all lengths to fish you these stories, whether found on radio, or in newspapers, on the internet, or elsewhere. We just go there, get them just because of the importance that we place on those stories, and get them back to you. My name is Paul Mefo, and am I glad to have you listen to this station? You can bet your last money that I am. And I tell you what, we shall be diving straight into some of the stuff we've got, and not really some of the stuff, because we're on this occasion focusing on the work of one gentleman. He's a Dublin doctor who is said to be beating cancer. Cancer is, as you know, a very dangerous form of disease. It doesn't give you time. Well, for some people who have been able to conquer it, it's kudos. And we're looking at the book which he has written, and he's helping his patients to beat cancer. And it says that it may seem an extraordinary statement to make, given the billions poured into cancer research by multinational pharma companies and medical research facilities. But a new book by a veteran GP on the north side of Dublin may well offer the first real proof that a way has been found to beat cancer. And it's something that it's worth noting. In Stop Feeding Your Cancer, Dr. John Kelly does not produce a cure for cancer. Instead, he presents convincing evidence based on the experience of his own patients, which shows that cancer can be stopped in its tracks and even reversed into a dormant state, allowing sufferers to regain good health and lead normal lives. The core of this approach is a discovery a decade ago of a direct link between the consumption of animal protein and development of cancer. It says cancer cells need protein to divide and flourish. Cut off the supply of animal protein and you can stop the growth and spread of cancer cells. You can starve the cancer into submission. Kelly does not claim to have made any discovery on cancer himself. In fact, his approach is based on the findings in another book, The China Study, by the acclaimed nutritionist Colin Campbell of Cornell University. First published in the US in 2005, which has now sold over 1 million copies. What Kelly has done is put those findings into use in his own practice over the past 9 years and document the results. He appears to be the first GP to do so in this part of the world. Professor Campbell's revolutionary work a decade ago established the link between animal protein and cancer in such a compelling manner that it was hard to ignore. But ignore it the medical profession did, possibly because it seemed too simple an answer to what all the specialists saw as a very complex disease. Campbell's early research had showed that feeding rats an animal protein diet made them develop cancers. Even more significant, it showed that changing their diet to plant protein halted the development of the tumors. And putting them back on the animal protein diet again made the cancer start to spread again. The cancer literally could be switched on and off. Kelly also mentions another discovery by Campbell in the Philippines at a time when there was a high incidence of cancers among children there. What Campbell noticed was that children from poor families, the vast majority usually recovered from the disease, but children from better off families usually died. The difference was diet. Only the better off families could afford meat and dairy produce for their children. The early work led to the large-scale clinical study by Campbell in China, chosen because of the uniformity of diet across much of that vast country and the ability to track the effects of differences in this diet in some areas. The link between animal protein and cancer was confirmed by this very extensive survey work, and the results were published in Campbell's book, The China Study, 9 years ago. Given a copy by a friend in Cornell University, John Kelly was deeply impressed. Instead of merely reading the book, however, he decided to put its findings to work in his own practice, conducting what he calls a field study among his patients who developed cancer. He has been doing this now for almost a decade, recording the results meticulously. And the results, which he details in his book, Stop Feeding Your Cancer, are jaw-dropping. As in any large GP practice in Ireland, a number of Kelly's patients develop cancer every year. He began to tell them about the link, gave them a copy of the China study, and suggested they go on animal protein-free diet. At the same time, he continued to refer them on to cancer specialists in the normal way and did not try to disrupt them from having whatever surgery, radiotherapy, or chemotherapy might be recommended. What emerged is truly extraordinary. All of the patients who adopted the animal protein-free diet and stuck to it strictly found that their cancer stopped growing and spreading. The tumors became dormant, sometimes even reducing in size. Since all of these patients were also having conventional cancer treatment, it was not possible to categorically say they had been saved by the diet alone. But conventional cancer treatment alone does not have this success rate, and in many cases the specialists involved were amazed at the recovery of the patient. Some of Kelly's patients had told their specialists they were on the diet, others did not. Invariably, the specialists put the recovery down to surgery or chemotherapy. Kelly gives the full details of over half a dozen cases in the book, including profiles of the patients and their lifestyles. The cases cover prostate, lung, colon, bowel, brain, and other cancers. In some cases, the patients stuck rigidly to the diet. In others, they became complacent as they got better and could not resist going back to having sticks and fry-ups. What Kelly has to say about the medical profession, dominated by consultants who rarely look beyond their own highly specialized areas, is telling. But it is his exposure of the refusal of specialists to take on board this new way of treating cancer, or even to consider it, that makes this such an important book. Kelly always adopted a low-key approach with patients, as he explains in the book, gently encouraging them but letting them make their own decisions. The personal stories he gives are very humane. As patients try to stick with the diet, the disease comes and goes, and the patients swing between despair and elation. Invasive treatments run alongside attempts to keep to the diet. No two cases are the same, but what the cases in the book show consistently is that an animal protein-free diet can beat cancer. There is one exception to this: pancreatic cancer, the virulent form that killed Brian Lennon and is usually fatal. But far from undermining the diet theory, Kelly, who has lost several patients to pancreatic cancer, including his own brother, says this is actually an exception that proves the rule. The reason the animal protein-free diet does not work against pancreatic cancer and some gastric cancers, he explains, is that the pancreas itself produces animal protein. The metabolizing enzyme involved, called trypsin, may hold the key to solving this problem, and Kelly calls for research into anti-trypsin drugs. Kelly's book shows him to be a widely read and philosophical doctor who believes in a holistic approach to medicine. He is at once scrupulously scientific and completely open-minded. He is naturally skeptical and hesitates in coming to conclusions, but his experience with his cancer patients has made him passionately convinced that the animal protein-free diet is the answer. He is well aware that a field trial run in one's GP's practice, even a large practice over a decade, cannot be taken as conclusive, and that clinical study needs to be done on a national or even international basis. In the book, he calls for such research. In fact, his main motivation for writing the book is the disinterest he has faced from consultants and oncology specialists in the past few years who are dismissive of the diet theory to the point of being insulting. They stick with their surgery and radiotherapy and chemotherapy, even though in many cases it either does not work or offers only limited time. They regard a dietary solution as simplistic or as flaky alternative medicine. What would a med GP know? After all, they are the experts. But that is exactly the point raised by this book. How blinkered are our specialists? Maybe they have become so specialized they can no longer see something that is outside their own area of expertise. Maybe it takes the broad, open-minded approach of the GP, especially a GP of vast experience like John Kelly, to see what is obvious. If this book manages to shake our highly paid medical elite out of their complacency, it will have succeeded. It presents a challenge to the cancer specialists of this country, one which they have so far tried to ignore rather than answer. It is a remarkable achievement by one doctor who has not forgotten his Hippocratic oath. And that's the book by John Kelly, talking about how to starve cancer to submission. John Kelly is a Dublin-based doctor, and his work is recognized in the area of Dublin where he practices. We made an effort to try to bring John Kelly to the program, but it's not been possible because of his very tight schedules, and we couldn't get him on telephone as well. But hopefully on any one such occasions again as this, we'll try to bring Kelly to talk about this book and his experiences about how you can starve of cancer to death. I hope it works and happens, to most of you. Well, you're still tuned to beatsradio.com, and this is where we're going to draw the curtain on the show. We hope that you join us again on www.beatsradio.com. It's Beats Radio on television, all right. And we may not be having much on the television side, as the case may be for now, even on radio side, but we keep doing things gradually, and we see where that takes us. So have a wonderful time and take good care of yourself.